What's up guys, in today's video it's finally time for me to explore the beautiful and wild Scottish Highlands. My aunt and uncle are going to be my guides and I'm going to be exploring lochs, hills, castles, rivers in this part 6 of my UK vlog series. This is my mad Scottish adventure, hope you enjoy. Looks like we're going for a magical mystery tour. Where are we going first?
Top of rest and be thankful.
Top of rest and be thankful.
Top of the rest, Lomond territory.
Lomond territory, huh?
My dad was born up there.
My uncle Doki knows this land well. He's lived in these parts his whole life and he'll be driving me through the Scottish countryside. We set out from Arrochar and duly make our way to the first destination, the town of Inveraray, with a quick stop along the way at the Rest and Be Thankful lookout point.
I was in Scotland and it rained. Of course it f***ing rained!
After not only soaking up a bit of the views, but also some of the deluge, we continued our journey on to Inveraray. And now here we are, Inveraray. The whole roads and stuff that we came in on, coming in through like all the hills and across the top of the lochs and stuff was gorgeous. The weather has definitely improved considerably. Although the wind is still too much for me to take the drone out. But that water looks clear enough. It'd be nice to go for a dive in it. Probably not an option though, considering. Located on the shores of Loch Fyne, the picturesque little town is the ancestral seat of the Duke of Argyll. It became a bit of a tourist spot and it's easy to see why. It's got a lovely wee castle and an old jailhouse that was converted into a museum. If you ever find yourself in Inveraray, it's an absolute must to drop into the Brambles of Inveraray, which is a hotel and restaurant, which serves a Scottish classic, roll and square sausage, and for some strange reason, vegan haggis. To this day, I have no idea what a vegan haggis is. Brambles went in for an iron brew and a roll and sausage. From Inveraray, we then travelled north to the head of Loch Lomond and Kilchurn Castle. Kilchurn. Kilchurn Castle. It's fancy, that, isn't it?
It's a pure work of art, man.
Construction of the castle began in the mid-1400s, and by 1770 the castle was in ruins, as the clan's territories has expanded so far that the castle was no longer needed. The ruins still stand as one of the many historic and preserved castles of Scotland. And it's also a great spot for a walk, surrounded by the natural beauties of Scotland, without having to pay a whopping entrance fee. Yeah, nice to go and have a look inside, but danger of masonry falling on you. It's incredible, huh? Look at that.
There's a banter in the background.
Yes.
You here we have one's uncle who's slightly deranged and unhinged. And he will chastise him in a minute.
Uncle Doki's famous for winding people up.
Yes.
Along with Sam.
I'm famous for winding people up too, sure. But my Aunt Linda's very, very good at disciplining that sort of winding up, aren't you?
One will receive a sound thrashing 4 or 5 times a day.
It keeps you regular as well, doesn't it? A scheme thrashing.
One chups, Sam. Chups.
I love chups.
Sam like chups, Linda. Sam like chups, Linda. Linda. I'm saying Sam like.
Ah, you said that, babe.
A wee wish thing, you'd be nice to me today, but obviously not.
Poor Aunt Linda. We then hit the road again and headed east to a place called Tyndrum, which is home of the Green Welly. Green Welly is a petrol station, or a purveyor of whiskies. or a local attraction, or a shop, or a cafe, or maybe it's a laundromat. I'm not sure what it is. Whatever it is, it's a good place to stop and have your lunch, especially if you're into scones bigger than your fist. After lunch we headed south to the Falls of Falloch. Now stopping at the Falls of Falloch. Falls of Falloch, is it? Falls of Falloch. Whew. Sure feel the mist from the falls. Just a short drive down the road from Falloch Falls is the Drover's Inn.
Drover's Inn.
The Drover's Inn.
Or the Inveraray.
Inveraray sounds better.
Well.
Inveraray, and it's haunted. One of the oldest pubs. 1705 it was opened. And it's in the view of Eagle Falls. Eagle Falls. Just a wee dram. Another thing crossed off my bucket list is having a wee dram in a proper Scottish pub. We then headed south along the coast of Loch Lomond to the Inveruglas Pyramid. The Inveruglas Pyramid is a unique viewing platform from which to see down Loch Lomond. We then continued down Loch Lomond until we reached Balloch, the Queen of the Loch restaurant, where my family had organised a reunion of the Scottish side.
They got chaps?
Good chips.
I hope they got chaps. You said that they chaps. Yeah. Callum, you getting chaps? I'm getting chaps.
Unlucky for me, madness does run in the whole family.
The chaps. Chaps. Hey. Yeah.
And after a long day of adventures, we'll be resuming day 2 back here in Balloch.
Got that as well.
A lovely walk now in Balloch Country Park. Apparently some of the laybys around here are quite famous for their dogging site. Yes, because there's lots of dogs in the park. That's what that means. I will take up a short course at some point of the Dummy's Guide to Scottish, probably. Today's Scottish word of the day is mocket. Say it with me, kids. Mocket. We're gonna have to go with one word of a day. We can't keep going with too many of them. As you'll all recall from yesterday's word of the day, Glencoe. Balloch Castle there, in desperate need of a facelift. The whole thing is closed for maintenance and cleaning and all that sort of stuff. The whole thing's like shut down. Seems like most of the castles that I've seen so far have been closed for the season. Just my luck. We then travelled down to the Tune, commonly known as Glasgow. And for the rest of the day we're going to be rejoined by my cousin Callum and his partner Coley. Callum incidentally is a fine gentleman who produced a number of songs for my UK vlog series. He's also going to be joining me for episode 7 when I do a full tour of Glasgow, so stay tuned for that. This is us at the People's Palace now. It's the cultural heritage museum basically for all of Glasgow. The People's Palace showcases many artifacts of Glasgow culture. Such artifacts as common sights that you would see throughout Glasgow's rich and vibrant history. Things like tenement buildings and old-fashioned dwellings. Old-fashioned stores, and is even the final resting place of Billy Connolly's famous banana boots. There he is, the big Ian.
Hello!
Fancy meeting you here. This is Glasgow.
This is Glasgow.
We then ventured further into central Glasgow. I passed a few notable locations which I'm only going to touch on now because in vlog 7 of my UK series I'm going to do a full tour of Glasgow. Locations such as the Barras,
Which is a local market. Apparently it's quite a sight to behold.
Barrowland, the Toll Booth Steeple.
Seems to be like this history, culture and architecture on every single street. Every single corner, every single everything. It's incredible to look at.
We came all this way out because Callum and Coley wanted to take us to one of their favourite restaurants, Buck's Bar.
This style of pub is kind of how most of the venues in Glasgow look. I've played in a few. Each one of them looks exactly like this.
So many chips options, chips and more chips. Oh.
If you're ever in Glasgow and you're after some good quality pub grub, I can't recommend this place enough. It was fantastic. As day 2 comes to a close, I reflect upon all the time that I got to spend with my family and travelling around in Scotland. And really I think I only have one major regret. We should book longer in Scotland to look around it a bit more. And although I feel like I covered a lot of ground, I really only scratched the surface of how much there is to see of the Scottish Highlands and countryside. This, however, only really gives me an excuse to go back again sometime, hopefully not in the too far distant future. Hope you enjoyed this video. Stick around for a preview of episode 7.